If you ask a median high schooler which classes they hated in high school, math and poetry would be on top of the list. Well, they're both taught dryly with little interaction and often feel like a bunch of rules and interpretations being forced on you. And I think there's a bit more to this coincidence. First of all, what is pure or abstract mathematics? It is mathematics for mathematics' sake, which raises an interesting point. If you are a researcher in mathematics, you probably just really like doing math. And so what mathematics isn't for the joy of it? One answer that I hear quite often is applied math. And this is math that is used in building bridges, sending people to space, making AI, and whatnot. The name is a little misleading. Applied mathematics is more aptly applicable mathematics. In 2023, over 10,000 research papers were published in the field of applied math, which is about 30 a day. Not all of these papers are solving a problem in the real world and affecting your life at this present moment. These papers could be about techniques, extending known results, pitching some possible ideas, which might not work, and so on. This is all the research that could potentially prove useful, but by the scale of things being published, likely might not. And that's perfectly fine. Most researchers who engage in math are not there just to solve a particular problem, but because they like doing math. The same way, people who write a variety of books just like writing. They might be really passionate about the topic they want to communicate, but they're equally invested in the creative process. From this perspective, applied mathematicians are a lot like people who write historical books or articles for a magazine. They have a goal in mind which motivates them, and they try to achieve that goal through the thing that they like doing, which is mathematics or writing. Poetry, on the other hand, offers an excess of freedom. You don't only read a poem just for the message that it conveys, but also for the aesthetics and the structure. There might be really good flow. There might be a clever rhyme. It might have an evocative shape. A page of poetry is a playground. It's a laboratory for language. It is a puzzle of words and patterns and phonetics. Poetry can also be infused with imagery. You can write a poem that is entirely vignettes, a collection of sights, sounds, and smells. And all of these are giving us a new perspective on how to see the world. Several famous lines of poetry that are often recited not only emphasize the human experience, but also extend it. But abstract mathematics shares many of the same characteristics. It aims to understand the world of mathematics through newer lenses and to imagine spaces that our eyes cannot. Abstract mathematics is about structure, pedantry, and interpretation, all of the same things that make poetry beautiful. They both capture vast swaths from the landscape of ideas and aim to preserve them in nuggets, like stanzas or theorems. Just to satiate the people screaming at me, let's talk about novels. I think novels lie in this gray area between poetry and applied writing. Long winding descriptions in stories with a lot of imagery are inching towards the poetic side, whereas a piece of writing that serves mostly a narrative or an informative purpose is going towards the prose side. So a novel can have poetic parts and prose parts, and this applies to any sort of writing. Even in mathematics, parts of your research could be applied and parts of it could be abstract. So where does that leave us now? We live in a world that has a strange relationship with fiction. We believe in lies, we believe in stereotypes, but any explicit mention of fiction is locked up in reserves, like TV shows or books, and these we have to actively pursue. Any mention of abstraction is seen as a personal waste of time and money. This is baffling to me, because anything that is applied could very likely be a waste of your time and money too. The ripple effects of research are very local, and research, just by its nature, becomes irrelevant or outdated. Not every new paper will make your Wi-Fi faster, reduce your chores, or get your friends fired. I don't think you wanted the last one. The concept of an ivory tower is as real as it's flawed. Most activities exist in a bubble, and the things that affect you personally will always be negligible. Even poetry has been limited to small circles. Universities have writing departments which often have poetry groups, but you almost never get to see their poems. In some cases, a creation might gather enough escape velocity and enter into the public consciousness. They ignite public imagination. They're an invitation to take part in this long-standing tradition. This happens in mathematics too. The recent successes of the aperiodic monotile and the SOFA problem are such examples. These are really exciting ideas which a lot of people have started talking about, but these are not the only ones. What these examples show that there is a public appetite for mathematics research. We just need to find a way that it clicks with people so that we can all enjoy the fruits of research. Thanks for listening to my ramble about how math and poetry are the same. You take big ideas and you crystallize them for posterity. You know what else is like math and poetry? Comics. Let's talk about that sometime. See you around.